if Andrew Tate is innocent, why would they want to set him up? And who are they? Well, I'll give you my best effort at answering that question or those questions for you. So, number one, Andrew Tate, you could make an argument that he is very anti-establishment in many ways, right? So when I say they, I mean the powers that be. I would get more specific into that, but I don't think YouTube would let me, basically. I've already, even with someone with barely any subscribers that just started making these videos, I've already had a warning, which shocked me because the video did not have a lot of views at all, even by my standards. In terms of like barely no one saw the video that I made one time, and YouTube already gave me the first one. They were like, don't worry, this one's just a warning. If you do this again, it'll be like your first strike or whatever. So, and of course they removed that content. So I gotta be a little bit careful, because before anybody even starts seeing it, really watching these videos, I could have an account already gone, which might actually make me just go all out and say fuck it and just completely say whatever I want to say. But I don't know. For now, I'll take my time. Anyways, Andrew Tate has obviously the views that he has on women, which most people know him from, whereas those same people haven't even heard what he actually says about women. They just hear like a little, snippet of a clip or whatever, and they'll have that kind of, they'll have their sort of opinion based on that alone. And then some people just heard that he is a certain way about women. But the real people that watch Andrew Tate will tell you that's a small part, sure, of what he's, about. Yeah, that is a small part of it. But the main reason why he has such a cult-like following is, in my opinion at least, for other things that he talks about, right? Like the last thing that you go back the last couple years, last, I would say, year and a half or so, where people really knew who Andrew Tate was on a sort of more mainstream scale. He was talking about the whole thing with the cough, right? Like he was talking about that, and he was really discussing it from a sort of a psychological standpoint, and why the people in power would enforce such a narrative, right? Like if maybe you weren't too scared about it, maybe they tried to make you a little bit more scared. And maybe if you didn't want a certain medical treatment that they were offering, maybe they tried to entice you to getting that medical treatment. Maybe if you were someone with some sort of expertise in that medical treatments area, and you were advising people not to get it, maybe big tech took you off of the internet altogether, or at least silenced you from speaking out to a mass amount of people that you would normally be able to reach. Maybe those things are all true, and maybe Andrew Tate was most certainly speaking out against that, and really in great detail, and more, I think, detail, and I think happened to be more accurate detail than most people. So he was not only speaking out against it, but it made a lot of sense when he said it. Like a lot of the things that he, kind of believes in regarding of that, it sort of made sense, and it was all, as time went on, proven to be more and more true. And so there's one thing that I think the establishment, whoever they are, would have sort of against Andrew Tate. Another thing would be his inspiration to men to be men. That goes against the whole feminism movement. And so there's that, of course, and that definitely matters, because if you look everywhere you look right now, they're trying to demasculize men. And my personal opinion of that is not to sit here and try to be so macho masculine and just I think that people, that is the left's way, and I'm sorry, but not to be political, but in the far majority of it, the left is against the masculinization of men, if that's even a word, but you get the point. So that is kind of the people that are against masculine tendencies for men, or traditional masculinity for men. That is their way of shooting that whole thing down, by kind of like making fun of the masculine nature of traditional men. So everywhere you look, that's kind of with the influence that you see, and especially when you're looking at mainstream circuits, like watch a new Disney Channel movie. You'll see a man that's a bumbling idiot, or you'll see a man that's really in touch with his feminine side and things of that nature. And again, from my personal opinion of that, the reason that's happening is because I think that they think that the world is overpopulated, not from the standpoint of like square footage of the world and the amount of room we have to operate as humans. I don't think it's that at all. I think that it's about control. I think that it's about like, hey, if there's X many people, we can't control them as easily. If we put forth, let's just say hypothetically, a plan was put forth in place to have a fewer or lesser amount of people that were maybe easier to control. I think that would make sense, right? So that's sort of where my mind goes in regarding to that. And Andrew Tate spoke about the most recent thing he did right before he was arrested or detained or whatever you call this, locked up, whatever, is he used one of the left's biggest sort of faces of climate change, and he used that platform that she has masterfully somehow, whether it was her own doing or whether it was just already a predetermined thing, a platform that she has amassed over a very short period of time. Greta Thunberg used her kind of Twitter presence to really catapult his message of don't be afraid of the sun. And so I think when we looked at the whole cough that just kind of has come and gone now, and it did last for many years, I mean not many years, but like 2 years, or roughly 2-3 years. And so that hysteria had led people maybe into making certain decisions that may have had a certain impact on their health. So when you look at it from that standpoint, that was the hysteria, though, was a way for them, in my opinion, to gain control over people. And so now that that's kind of dying down, it's pretty obvious, in my opinion at least, and in many people's opinion, that the next move is for you to be afraid of the sun being hot. And so when they make you afraid of the sun being hot, the person that has most recently caused the biggest shitstorm in terms of interrupting your fear of the sun is no other than Andrew Tate. And he didn't just use his large platform, he again catapulted it off of the young girl named Greta Thunberg's Twitter platform. And I mean, these tweets are getting like 30-40 million views since Elon put the views feature on there, and we can see that. And I think that, in my opinion, was the real like, okay, we need to shut this dude up. And again, not saying this is for sure what happened, Andrew Tate might be guilty and that would suck, but like if Andrew Tate were set up completely, I think it would be on the back of we are not going to allow you to speak about this, especially when this many people are listening to or reading this tweet or watching this video that you made or whatever, especially when you backtrack a few weeks, I think it was just a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, about the whole Balenciaga thing and his take on that. If you didn't see his take on Balenciaga, you should go back a few emergency meetings ago and watch his it was him and Tristan, and they had a really interesting take on that. I'll maybe talk about that in another video, but the point is, like, the things that he was speaking out against were just getting bigger and bigger in terms of like their impact on society and the world, and sort of may or may not have been conflicting with what the biggest establishment, whoever that might be, wants you to, it might have been conflicting with the narratives that they wanted you to fall in line with. So that's kind of my take on it. It's not Greta. It's not that Greta's so powerful. I promise you that's not it. It's the fact that she is the face of a thing that is very powerful and is being pushed by the people that probably run the world. And so that's kind of the whole MO behind it, in my opinion, is that he used her platform to catapult his message. 33 supercar, like, hit everything that he's going, everything that he stands for just happens to go completely against what Greta and whoever might be in front of her and on top of her in terms of the power structure is going for as regarding to climate change and much more. So it wasn't the pizza box. It wasn't that Greta's the face of power, or it wasn't that Greta called the Romanian authorities. It was that he spoke on something. Again, this is hypothetical, if in fact he is innocent. It was that he spoke on something, amongst many other things, that he really shouldn't have spoke on. And by the way, that when he did speak on it, he did such a good job of catapulting off of what she had already built in terms of a platform for that specific ideology. And so a whole bunch of people that may not have otherwise listened to that were listening. So anyways, that's what I think. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.